I'm gonna sell you on purchasing this Omo PRECON by showing you guys how this commander deck plays. So just so you see, we have the deck right over here. I'm gonna cut this deck in half so that whatever I draw is completely random. But what will not be completely random is my opening hand. My opening hand that I have over here is a Planar Nexus. We have a Temple of Mystery to scry 1, Urza's Mine, Expedition Map to search for lands, Hour of Promise acts like Expedition Map and puts lands onto the battlefield, Sage of the Maze, which I think is one of the best cards in the entire deck, and a Vine Wall, which is one of many walls inside this deck that I just wanted to show so that new players had an idea about that. So before we start this, we're going to go over the commander. Now, the commander for this deck is Omo, Queen of Vesuva, and she reads, whenever Omo, Queen of Vesuva enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each of up to one target land and up to one target creature. Each land with an everything counter on it is every land type in addition to its other types. Each non-land creature with an everything counter on it is every creature type. Now, this commander deck is quite the combo deck, and when we talk about precons in general, precons tend to be decks that are very straightforward in the way that they play and quite simple to understand. But what you're going to notice inside this playtest is that this deck is anything but a normal precon. First of all, this is a $70 precon. You may end up spending more than that. However, the cards inside this deck are very powerful, and you have to do things like this so that you learn what cards combo with other cards so that you can play well. And keep in mind that I may misplay on purpose so that the new players watching this video can call out my misplays in the comment section below. Let's see how well you guys can pay attention. Our first draw is a Hashep Oasis. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this card into our hand. And I think that what we wanna do is we wanna scry first. So let's get the Temple of Mystery onto the battlefield. When this enters tapped, and we will scry 1. Take a look what we got. We have a Summary Dismissal, a 4-mana counter spell. Let's just go ahead and put this on the bottom of the library, and then we'll just pass the turn. After that, we will untap and draw into an island, which is just gonna go straight back into our hand. And I think in this situation, let's just play the Planar Nexus because it's cool. And then we'll tap 1, 2 mana, and we'll protect our life total right now. We'll get the Vine Wall onto the battlefield, and as this Vine Wall enters the battlefield, we're going to look at the top 6 cards of our library, and then we reveal a land from among them and put it into our hand. So hopefully we find something cool here. So we have 1, 2, 3, nice, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, wow. So we got Urza's Power Plant as well. So I think in this situation, we do have the Hour of Promise in our hand, which is going to let us search our library for 2 lands. And then the Expedition Map is also going to let us search for a land. So I think that what we can do is we can grab the Urza's Power Plant. And then that means in a couple of turns that we have, let's just so you guys see, we have Urza's Mine in hand right now. And this will tap for 2 mana when we have all these cards assembled, and this one will tap for 2 mana as well. But the thing is that the Planar Nexus actually counts as every non-basic land type. So because this card is in play, these 2 cards are automatically going to tap for the extra mana. So let's keep the Urza's Mine in our hand. And I think in this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the Urza's Power Plant, have that go into our hand. We will shuffle the rest. This will go on the bottom of our library. And then after the situation, I think we just pass the turn, protecting our life total with our wall, untapping and drawing into a Trench Post, which in the right situation can be a game-winning card. I think when we go over to our hand, we're gonna play the Urza's Power Plant, put that onto the battlefield, and then let's get our Sage of the Maze onto the battlefield. Let's tap 1, 2, and 3. We'll play our Sage of the Maze. This card's gonna allow us to tap this card, and we're gonna create 2 mana of any color essentially, and in any combination. And we can tap an untapped gate we control, and we get to untap Sage of the Maze. So essentially, we could tap the Planar Nexus to untap Sage of the Maze to generate 2 mana again. So we would have done that, and then we will just pass the turn. After that, we will untap and draw into a Magus of the Candelabro. This is a really good draw, and you may understand why I just got really excited out of nowhere. So that's gonna go into our hand. And then let's go ahead and play that Urza's Mind, remembering everybody that because Urza's Mind is on the battlefield alongside the Planar Nexus and the Urza's Power Plant, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana right here to generate, which is fantastic. So allow me to look at my hand and see what we're gonna do next. What we're gonna do is pay 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 mana here. And then we're gonna cast the Hour of Promise, which is gonna let us search the library for 2 land cards, and we put them onto the battlefield tapped. Okay, so I'm telling you guys, whenever you cast this Hour of Promise, you are always gonna be searching for these 2 cards right here. These 2 cards are Thespian Stage and Dark Depths. They do enter tapped. However, when Dark Depths enter the battlefield, it's going to enter the battlefield with 10 ice counters on it. So we'll go ahead and add 10 ice counters to this Dark Depths. The thing is, though, is that we have a Thespian Stage, and we can have Thespian Stage become a copy of a target land for 2 mana. So we're going to be able to activate this next turn. But the thing is that as we activate the Thespian Stage, because it's already on the battlefield, it's not going to have to gain 10 ice counters, which means that when Dark Depths has no ice counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, create Merit Lodge, a legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. So for 5 mana, I basically just put a, 7 mana technically. I put a 2020 creature with flying and indestructible on the board inside of a PRECON for 7 mana, 5 mana tech. Now, with the mana that we have left over, I can tap Sage of the Maze for 2 mana, and then I can tap the Planar Nexus to untap Sage of the Maze, to tap Sage of the Maze again to generate 4 mana right now. So I'm gonna use 1 of that mana to cast the Expedition Map, and then I'm gonna use 2 more of that mana to sacrifice the Expedition Map to search my library for a land and put it into my hand. And the land we grabbed is an Urza's Tower, because as I play this land next turn, this 1 land is going to generate 3 mana, which I don't think I have to say anything. We're just going to go ahead and pass the turn here. What an explosive turn. We'll untap, get all these things out. We'll draw for turn into an Overflowing Basin, which is exactly how I feel playing this commander deck right now and all the mana that we're generating. We'll play that Urza's Tower that now taps for 3 mana because we have all the other Urza lands inside here as well. And I can tap 2 mana for the Power Plant to turn the Thespian Stage into a copy of Dark Depths, which means that this Thespian Stage is sacrificed. And because this was a legendary land and this is a legendary land of the same type, they're both going to be sacrificed, and we get to create, I'm going to use this, a 2020 creature with flying and indestructible on whatever turn number this is. And now we would just continue to play, draw cards. I could get Omo onto the battlefield as well this turn by tapping 1, 2, 3 mana. And then I could turn any land I have into a copy essentially of Planar Nexus that taps for a whole bunch of, that essentially becomes a gate. So that as I tap Sage of the Maze, I could then tap this to untap this, to then tap this to untap this, and so on and so forth, so that I end up generating more mana with this, which leads me to a place where if I end up getting the Magus of the Candelabra on the battlefield and I end up attacking with Omo, let's say I have 3 lands that untap Sage of the Maze. Let's say these 3 lands are mazes. We'll just add this one because we're going to have an extra land the next turn. Let's say these 3 lands are mazes. That would mean that I could generate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana that turn. And then I could tap this for 1, 2, untap, 3, 4, untap, 5, 6, or 5, 6, and then untap, and then 7, 8 mana, which means that I could then pay 1, 2, 3 mana by tapping the Urza's Tower to then activate the Magus of the Candelabra's ability to untap X target lands, which X would become 3. I would tap this, untap these 3 lands, and then that lets me start untapping the Sage of the Maze again to generate mana again and again and again. I think you guys are understanding what's happening. And then what ends up, when you have this combo assembled, you could also have cards inside your deck like Mana Reflection to double up the mana that you're generating every time you tap Sage of the Maze. Or you could also play a card like Drown in Dreams to force target player to mill twice X cards. So if I generate 40 mana with Sage of the Maze, which is very possible inside this commander deck, you can just mill somebody out of the game in 1 turn. And it's it happens. When it happens, it's fun, but it's not fun for your opponent, but it's definitely fun for you. So that's this commander deck. You know, if I convinced you to purchase this commander deck, let me know in the comment section below. I will tell you if that you are a new player to Magic the Gathering, I would advise against purchasing this commander deck if this was your first deck. I mean, I will tell you, this will end up probably being the most powerful deck in your collection at some point in the future if you're brand new to the game. So it would be a nice investment, but if you're looking to have an enjoyable experience, I would definitely check out the other videos I have on my channel, because there are a lot of other precons that are much more conducive to individuals that are brand new to playing Magic the Gathering, okay? If I didn't convince you to buy this commander deck, let me know why in the comment section below. And if I had any misplays there, let me know them in the comment section below as well, okay? Always remember, eat healthy, okay? Work out every single day. Most important, you guys gotta remember to believe in yourself, all right? Peace out, people.